Well, let's start. Welcome to Video Games with Tokoloni 1. This run is a run I got earlier today, streamed on my secret channel. The channel was originally used for the segmented run, but
Do you think I felt regret as I gazed upon the destruction we had wrought?
anyways,
Or at least humility at the speed with which a world can be transformed from a good world into a
I don't have a shooter. Wait, I do have a shooter.
For in that moment I
Not pre-recorded. Check this.
the honor and
Fucking
glory I would bring
let's
to
go.
the father by fighting as a warrior in the first battle.
Anyways, just zipless segment run. So there's nothing planned, and the zipless segmented run was a project we wanted to do for a long time already, and there's nothing of similar, I don't know, interest for us to kind of pursue.
Many men that day saw
So there won't be anything. I mean, I guess I'll submit this category given the amount of time I put into it. But this is pretty fucking quiet, isn't it?
I knew this would not be my
Rip
way.
ears, by the way.
I would win my father's praise.
Ah,
not
that's
by
fine.
killing, but by being the
Professional
first to find the
stream, by the way.
Mahatma's treasure vault and the wonders within.
Anyways, yeah, thanks for all the good luck. I really thank you. I really hope this run can get somewhere. Wait. Anyway, so the problem with this, not this run, but this whole weekend or the last 2 weeks or so, is that I don't even have time to do these kind of runs. And that's the thing. There's a speedrun marathon coming up, an on-site marathon, which starts in 10 days, and I still have to de-rust 2 games out of the 3, which I'll show off there, which is Warrior Within, True Ending NMG, which will take quite some time to get back into. Similarly for Deponia 2, for which I probably have to learn all the puzzles. I assume I submitted the puzzle, like puzzles as an incentives, or no puzzle skips it's called. So there wasn't really time to do this, but I did it anyways because this was so insanely frustrating.
Shall I continue my story from here the next time we're interrupted?
No thanks, Prince. This was so insanely frustrating eventually. Like when I got this 148, I was like, yeah, the main is a good run, and then you get
And there it
get
lay,
more and more
breached,
back into
the
this
dagger
back into the
of
category, and you get better
There
runs
was a
and better
treasure
runs, but they
carried
all die at
prize
some
as a
point,
trophy of our victory.
either because you suck,
I could
because the
only
game
get
sucks, or because Pharos sucks. Most likely because Pharos sucks, honestly. But all fellow PvP runners know how it is. Yeah, so that's kind of the initial situation or initial condition for this run. I shouldn't have even been here. I should have actually done something else for work, but whatever. And it starts off poorly with a failed attempt. This is a motivation for everybody else. You don't have to reset these kind of things. And I know it's painful to continue. I know it is. I know you should, or you think you should reset. But that mindset honestly really got me down in the last weeks. This kind of series of misfortunate events, of reset after reset after reset, and it's a really toxic pit you're in, where no run is good enough to continue. It's like one little mistake, reset, and getting out of that, and actually starting again to finish runs. That's probably the hardest
I had what I came for. It was time
thing
to
to
get
do
out.
here.
Now.
Say, okay, this was second try. Okay, the next split wasn't maybe as good. But if I don't finish this now, I'll never finish this. Like, similarly for this one, usually I would have been like, okay, whatever. But on the one hand, I don't have time to put way more time into this category. Otherwise, on the other hand, I'm also not like, even if I had the time, I wouldn't even be interested to put like 8 more fucking years into this. So at some point you have to force yourself. Of course, you reset big mistakes, but that's.
I soon realized that only by taking into my own dagger the sands that possess them, could I liberate them from their monstrous living death.
Whereas it's not 1:45. I'm sorry. Although my best possible time after this run was 1:44.57 or so. Thank you anyway. Stop. It's like, it's not even meant as motivation. I just want to explain how I felt the past days and weeks. Of course, this was not the craziest grind of my life. Like zipless grinds I did for like 3 weeks straight, 5 hours every day, stupid shit like that. It was not nearly as intense. But it still is a psychological hurdle you have to overcome at some point. Or of course you can say, I give up. And I honestly was very close. But that's when a mathematician shines the strongest. Shines the brightest, when his frustration tolerance is really maxed out.
I'll start the story from
And you
here
know,
this
it's
time.
now or never. Chances are it could be now. It's a realistic probability.
You think me mad. I can see it by the look in your eyes. You think my story is impossible. Perhaps I am mad.
Ah, green
You will
again.
not be
This
driven
run is
mad
well
by
read.
horrors such as I have lived. But I assure you, every word is true.
So the sand cloud collecting begins. Starting off with my favorite strat of this run.
My father, all our entourage, and I should have passed the night lay cold and silent.
Lovely.
The sands
Not
of
lovely.
time swept through,
But this was
stealing
lovely.
life and warmth from everything they touched.
The trick is probably my favorite
Unleashed the cataclysm had been
in this
spared.
whole run. I'm not even sure
Are there
why,
others like me who yet clung to
but
life,
I love it.
hiding in fear among the ruins? It seems so. Come back!
Actually, as a disclaimer, there's one person in chat right now who knows what the
Had
final
I
time
really
is.
seen her? Or had my
Because
senses given
he
way
or
to the
she,
burden of horrors
no, it's he,
great
because he
men
watched
and conjured up a
my
fantasy?
secondary stream
Either way, I could
today
not
where I got
rest
this.
until I had found her again.
I mean, at least you saw the run, so it's not as blind for you as it is for anybody else. Okay, at this point, it's like just wipe it away and do a run. So the last thing you want is to again, and probably for the last time, get stuck in this pit of resetting. Nah, Sphere did that numerous times before. I feel like at some point it's not really as surprising or funny anymore. I don't know if it was that often, but it was. I did it a few times, although it was years back. I admit that. Big night 2016, 17 or so. Like, I surely didn't do it every week, but occasionally. Anyway, so this is the first glitch we do. If you mesh first person, you can go into first person and adjust the camera before you can even move. Because after you get a life upgrade, there's a 3-second... well, missed opportunity. Sorry. But yeah, after you exit the life upgrade, there's a 2 or 3 second movement lock where you can't do anything, but if you press first person quickly enough, you can adjust first person. So you can, and it's only really useful there. You can adjust your angle such that You only have to jump straight as soon as you can move again. Saving like a second or so, it's not a big thing, but it's a nice take nonetheless. Yes, I'm sorry, Sphere. The next time I get a world record in this category, I'll do it. Oh wait. I never run this ever again. Go. Also, I'm not sure why I'm streaming in 60 FPS when this video is only in 30, but okay. Just to explain why it might look a bit choppy to you. For you guys. Very nice. Scarps didn't bother me. No, I didn't record in 30 FPS, but when I kind of cut it out afterwards from all the attempts I did today, I did it only in 30. But I think the original footage I'll upload will be in 60. Yes, Fear, I forgot it. I'm sorry. I usually do that. For other runs I do where it actually matters, I usually do that, but I forgot. But it's just for this resubmitting. Welcome to my 360p speedrun. Okay, will he hold cancel? Oh, he did. Insane speedrunner. Shoutouts to Smethlek. Shoutouts to Scarabs. Lamo. So funny. It's not funny. It's not funny at all. It's actually pure pain. There's nothing more to it. Yeah, but already honest and genuine thanks to Smethlek for, on the one hand, a bunch of strats he came up with, or made me aware again that these already exist. Speaking of the PP Pro strat in Endgame. Lul. And of course for picking up this category, so I have some kind of motivation to get back into this. Just as a reminder, the old world record I think was 152.02. Funny enemy, by the way. So from that we already got down 3 minutes, plus whatever comes in this run, of course. Funny enemy, by the way. Funny. So yeah, without Smeth, this run would not be here. On the other hand, without Smeth, I wouldn't have gone through all this pain and suffering once again, but different story. That's mostly, should mostly be attributed to my stubbornness of not being able to let go. To just say, okay, I like this is probably a bad idea, I should stop. I give up. 1:48 is not a bad time.
Oh, thank God! I was
Afraid you were one of them.
Can
You help me activate the Azar's defense system. Even both of us to do it.
I'll reset
Sorry.
the axles for you. The man who's normally in charge of this got... Never mind. Ride the platform down to the bottom. Then use those two cranks to bring it back up. You see those 4 axles? You'll need to
Pick them up one by one.
until you've got all 4. Then bring them up to the top together.
As nice as it was to run without voices, it's nice to have him back. All I'm gonna say.
Make sure you pick them up in the right order.
My homie.
That's it. You've got the first axle. Now pick up the other 3.
Yelling Palace defense guy. Remember, pay attention to the grooves. I don't even know what he says, but that's fine.
That's it. One crank turns the platform. the other one raises and lowers it.
So, probably, like when you start running this category, I believe this puzzle is the most annoying thing to do.
That's two.
To the pay attention to the goose. Fair enough. So when you first run this category, this puzzle is probably the most annoying thing because there's nothing interesting. You just do it over and over, and with every reset, you know which happens again. But at some point, that might take a while. But at some point, just as it is with speedrunning in general, you get into this muscle memory area where you do things unconsciously.
Just one more.
So just do this puzzle, but like mentally you're not even here. You just do it out of habit, something like that. And whenever that point comes, you will blissfully
Now, bring 'em up to the
go over
top
this puzzle without
and
caring.
line them up with their gears.
But Sphere, I'm not saying I didn't prove it during this puzzle.
That's it. I knew you could do
All
it.
I'm gonna say. Dude, my nose is so itchy, I'm sorry.
Now, there's one last step. Do you see that platform?
Actually jump to the ladder.
Throw
This
your
run is
lever,
blessed.
And I'll throw mine.
Funny.
We did it! Serve those accursed demons right! Oh, by God, they'll rue the day they ever dared attack the Palace of Azad!
Okay, with this puzzle out of the way, we can go to the fun parts of the game again. Such as maybe getting blocked by enemies. Haha. Funny. I didn't lose too much time. I lost half a cycle here. That's okay. Just slightly annoying.
The palace's defenses had a twisted logic of their own. They could be circumvented by using the strategically placed switches, which I soon learned to recognize.
Also, sorry, I
It was
didn't.
hard to escape the feeling that I had
Kind of
made a
forgot that
terrible mistake
question. Yeah,
by
we're
setting
within
in
training
motion such a
NMGs
deadly
next.
system of traps.
Next could
Seemed
mean
in truth more likely to
tomorrow
claim
or
my life
in 4
than
days
that
or
of an
so, but
invader that was
it
not flesh and
it
blood.
surely will be next because I don't really have another choice. But yeah. I'm not even sure if I'll stream the D-Rust. Also check this, skip, free, you just do it. Lamu. Yeah, but the actual D-Rust, not sure if that will be something to do on stream. I don't know yet. I personally don't think it's that interesting of me trying to get back into a run and just practicing things. Or learning things such as the Wheel of Fortune skip or whatever it's called now. And getting back into all the fighting techniques, etc. Well, it's also a very nice retard jump, so funny. Well, first of all, some people know about the channel.
Strange.
And second of all,
I feel as if I've been here before.
I didn't feel like streaming on my main channel because I wasn't even
I have been here.
showered and anything. It was like shortly after I got up. So I rather didn't. And now Sphere is laughing at me. What is this pain? Okay, very solid run so far. Like it's solid run so far. Very is always a strong term, but it's okay. Of course, you could argue just do big palm tree, Lamo. It's easy, but it's not how this game works. Will I fail Was this a run where I failed over the saw blade here once? Yeah, it was. It was pain. I actually, yesterday in the evening, I lost a run to getting hit by that first saw blade twice, and then over the saw blade also twice. So, yeah. Needless to say, I reset shortly after this. But that's okay. Hello, Sam. Good morning. Glad you could join this fun stream. In which I totally don't show off the world record I got earlier today. Anyways. Sorry, I just had to mute my laptop. Okay, that fight also very painful. Frequently, actually. I wanted to say occasionally, but it was rather frequently the last days. But here already a great start. Farah knocks down enemy. Now I get the first slow-mo tank, which I can directly use on the blue guys, so they don't block me and hit on my life.
When I had collected enough sand, the dagger gained the power to stop time.
So it did, Prince.
But for the
Help me.
Funny. Very actually useful, like what the fuck? Already knocked down 2 enemies. Run literally blessed. It wasn't a very nice slash, but it was actually faster because that blocked me. And kinda ended the animation early. And still, I of course still slashed the enemy. Okay, last guy. So this was a solid fight as well. Sadly, due to missing over the saw blade, I'll probably only save like 5 seconds or so. Or maybe even less. I think it was 3 seconds I saved here.
I'm sorry.
Not a big deal.
why?
I know what it is to lose a father.
That was not my father. I'm sorry, Farah. I apologize.
What are you doing?
I'm sorry, Prince, even. Like, never say anything ever again. Okay, let's hope the game doesn't crash. Oh, wait. Why am I so funny? Okay, we're still on a good pace. I think the best pace I had yesterday was
And you will worry about
minus
I'll
110 or so when
You're liable to
leaving
hit me.
cliffs and waterfalls. Something like that. Well, GMP, why does Farah yell for
leave me here.
anything other than being a nuisance? No, nuisance? How do you pronounce that? Fuck. I blacked out. Other than being annoying. Nuisance, okay. It's, one day my English skills will be sufficient for this stream. That was very funny. Apparently, controller stopped caring about my RB input. I don't know. Kinda had to rewind that, but it's only a small thing. It's not even, like, at least for me, it's not all the time, it's occasional. I think this is, in fact, world record pace. As you can see, I'm minus 32 seconds on the world record splits. Hence, this is world record pace by definition. Proof end box. Or Halmosh sign. Every time the life split counts down your time lost, it hurts so much. All the time, fair enough. Very nice roll. Apparently I didn't target the ladder in a sufficient manner, I don't know. Funny. No, it's not pre-recorded. All good. Ah, my head. Ah. Yeah.
I'm down here. There you are.
Let's save Farah.
Why not accept the challenge, shall we?
Let's also mess up my camera
So quiet
setup
out there. It's terrible,
because I suck.
but also beautiful.
Maybe to you.
But that's something I came to terms with a long time ago. That's okay.
You're a skinny little thing.
Skinny little thing.
What is this place?
We'll need to
Find a way down to the bottom. For where's there's also there's a bunch of things I'd consider very cool movement I very much enjoy doing.
I can't do that.
As you'll
there.
see. Oh, pre-coded. Oh, I read pre-recorded. Sorry. That's of course next level. Didn't say frames, but I made the cycle. Insane.
I'll just wait here then. Shall I?
Has never been done before. Oh wait. Also, why is this lever like fucking 8 kilometers long? I'm pretty sure I didn't do the math, but I'm pretty sure that lever is the longest lever in the whole game. There's no other lever longer than that one.
Are you all right? I heard strange noises.
No permanent damage, thank you.
This is my conjecture. If anybody wants to prove that, please do it. Also very clutch on that trap, but
I've got it.
how many football fields? Probably 20 yards of football fields or so. I don't.
Your
No.
turn now.
Yes, classic Persian infrastructure. So here's the cool movement I was talking about. I probably said that every stream ever. But this turnaround camera and quick jump, if it would have worked properly. But that movement in principle, I very, very much like that. Sadly, I fucking sucked at this part, but at least I didn't roll and hang down between the two kind of angled surfaces there. Farah floated there for a second. I'm not sure what that was about, but that's fine. It's not like I like it or anything. Jumpy do for insane warehouse. I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, that one you mean. No, you can't because the platforms are not aligned correctly. Because you use the lever in the middle, I believe. I'm not. I don't believe. I'm pretty sure. I am playing with eyes closed. Yeah. God game. I should make this a blindfold run right now. Cause this fight also cost me a few runs over the course of the last days and weeks. by enemies teleporting back. But if you freeze kill the first one, which is the middle guy, I'm rather sure on this. Just that I haven't thought about it in a long time, but I'm rather sure. Either way, so you freeze kill the guy in the middle, which usually assures that no other enemy, that no enemy teleports to Farah, which makes you actually makes you lose 15 seconds because you have to go all the way back to the fence there, because in this category you have to kill the birds to save the most time. The birds being painfully slow.
I don't think they did survive.
I don't think they did survive, by the way. Or did they survive? Does anybody know? Did these birds survive? Nice zip setup. I mean, what? So an enemy teleporting back to Ferris, essentially 15 seconds of time loss. And something you really want to circumvent. For which I found that strat of freeze killing the middle enemy the most useful so far. It doesn't always work, but it's like 95%. It's within the interval of confidence, I guess. Time for the zoo. Also very cool movement because it's all very strict. There's no real variance to what you can do or what you do even. Yeah, that's what I meant. You can, like, it can happen then that the enemies pile up and the freeze kill doesn't work and the enemy teleports to Farah anyways. That's the interval of confidence, or rather, maybe we should call it the interval of bullshit associated with this game. Or will this be a gold split? I wonder. Oh, it is by like 0.13 or so. Insane. Yeah, but that birdcage was really good. Interval of bullshit. I'll think about it. I'll consider it. Thank you. It's something you can say at the end of your of a talk you give, and there's a question you can't answer. You say, very interesting question. I'll think about that in the near future. Which essentially means, what the fuck, mate? I have no idea what you're talking about. I mean, what? Very funny. Want to repeat the scarab, but scarab is impossible to kill. Very cool. No, it's actually, on the one hand it's cool to watch, on the other hand it's very satisfying to do these kind of movements if you do it fluently. So there's an upside to it from both kind of perspectives, as a runner as well as a viewer. I did torpedo Farah, yeah. Was somewhat satisfactory, despite the time loss, but it's something for the soul. Of course, that's the other side. If you fail some kind of fluid movement, it can be very painful. That corner, for example, walking around that corner, but not triggering the trap, is something I also told in the last stream. There was a time when I grinded zipless, like a year and a half ago, when I simply couldn't do that trick anymore. I was incapable of walking around the corner without triggering the spikes. It was part of my muscle memory, and then it was gone. I couldn't do it anymore. And every time I got here, you get very self-conscious, you think about it, and you fail it again. Just as an example to this, just to show, yeah, that's true. Also, Razor, glad that you're here. Check this. That's what happens if you don't watch the original stream. Just get it. Actually, I found it to be rather successful. If you try to hug the wall, you do two rolls, you hug the wall, wait a bit, and then warren. If you don't wait, your warren will be too short. And you won't grab the ledge. But really keeping distance from the bird makes not getting hit more likely. Who would have thought that? Staying away doesn't trigger enemies. Insane. Fun side fact. When this run is over, by the time this run is over, the restaurants around me will be open, so I can go there and celebrate this with food I purchased. Big bottle. Yeah, it actually is. This is kind of standard here, but it's the 1.5 liter bottles or whatever that is in football fields. Probably 7 football fields. I don't know. It's so you have the small bottles, that's 0.5 liters. Medium ones, which are not really a thing, 1.0. Then there's 1.25. And what you can buy in the supermarket or grocery stores are these 1.5 liter things. Cubic football field. Yeah. So this can fill like 6 glasses of water, I think. Okay, I guess 1.0 is a thing as well. Yeah, this is very funny. Funniest game. Funny, hilarious, and funny as well. Start worrying too late, cause girl absolutely threw me off. So there's only one chance. You just do it. Luckily, I got it within 2 attempts. But this is the prime example of the game being absolute nonsense. When the enemy doesn't spawn where the enemy usually spawns, gets in your way and messes everything up. That's also what Smeth kind of said. It's very painful if these kind of things fail. Of course, that initially wasn't my fault. When the enemy teleports, there's not much you can do. It still hurts. Of course, all the like 2 failed attempts after that also hurts. What can you do? Okay, hello Farah. Time for Farreless baths, which by now should be a standard procedure. Without the slightest chance of crashing, which you usually assure by, on the one hand, of course, doing the setup, and on the other hand, not doing the setup too quickly. If you do the setup too quickly, which happens if you do a lot of runs, it tends to fail. So at some point, you really gotta force yourself to go slow on that setup, on that particular setup at least, to assure you don't crash up here. Because Farah's not in the correct state or whatever happens here. Yeah, GMP, that can happen. If you rewind a slow-mo, it occasionally can happen that the music messes up. That even after the rewind, you still have the slow music. It gets fixed if you pick up a sand cloud. I think if you kill an enemy, not sure. But there are a few things. Yeah, skipping bookcase actually is a thing. It's not faster if you have the first-person glitch. Like with first-person glitch, you just glitch the bookcase exactly where you want it, and of course that's faster. But moving the bookshelf is very slow, so worrying up onto that ledge is to be preferred. That's actually a very old trick. Has been done like 2012 already, I think. I'm pretty sure Michael Yama already did that. But the fact that I only lost 2 seconds to gold here is a mere atrocity. Like my gold there is really unoptimal, but with all the nonsense that can happen on that split, I think it's rather difficult to get a very good gold. It's very similar for the nice statue grabbing, by the way.
That's 2 doors open.
Was quite similar in all the zippers and NMG and whatever grinds. This split
Hurry!
usually is, with a high probability, is quite painful. Yeah, so in principle, drinking in this game is tied to replenishing your health. And then there are these secret life upgrades, for which you have to destroy some kind of secret or maybe even sometimes obvious wall. You walk down the corridor and you end up in this life upgrade area with the 4 bridges and everything's dark and magical water and so. And these boost your health by 30 points, with your base health being 100 points. So at the end of the game, or at the end of this category, you should have 400 HP. I believe. I think so, yeah. I think it should be 30 for every upgrade. Here I am. Doing this jump, if you take the sand cloud, is impossible. If you don't take the sand cloud and you can do the setup I did in zipless, for the zipless segmented, you can just kind of do this jumping off, walk straight and then jump late, which is very consistent. But if you take the sand cloud, all of that is messed up. So at that point I don't even bother doing that trick anymore. Because even if I would do it with setting it up for 5 seconds, there would be no point in doing it anyways. It only saves time if you just go for it. So at this point my recent camera broke. Also very funny when that happens. It can happen. It's not. It can happen. It happens somewhat frequently if you fight in landscape. And there's some camera change in there because you leave the area the landscape is kind of designed for, loosely speaking.
Don't step off that switch.
I got the roll here, by the way. It's pretty difficult. You have a small window if you get the knee animation. You have a small window of inputting a roll there. Whenever you get it, it's so satisfying. You would not believe it. Also, I think this fight went quite funnily. Yes. Ah, yes. Check this. Funny. At least it didn't block me in the end. Yes, Warren and Sword Slash does save time. Every time you do it, you save 2 frames. Trust me.
We'll need to open this door. Look for a switch.
I'm going in.
Don't! Wait for me! A soldier's mess.
Yeah, indeed. You end up with 4 times the
Smell of
health. That's
food
correct.
Still wafted from the kitchen. Scanned hours ago, these
I guess in
tables
War
are
Within a T2T they realized that it's
joking and camaraderie over their
way
evening
over the top and you don't, there's no
Just
real
as my
point to that.
father's men go
So
back home and
I guess
survive,
that's why they
at
diminished that
ease
there.
because they think themselves safe within the castle walls with no enemy to fight. How could they know
Ah,
the
water.
enemy was
Mm.
already among them?
Every time I drink water, I regain health as well. It's a real life phenomenon. Anyway, so getting into this area with -107. And
Help me.
which particularly means that we pass baths and the baths crash, the possible baths crash. That really means that there's a significant chance of Farah dying, no, of finishing this run on a good pace, or at least advancing somewhat far into this run. Of course, -1 minute, 1 hour before the end of the run doesn't mean anything, but it or anything specific. But it's a good start. Let's put it like that. Shout out to Farah dying, by the way. It's so funny. The scaffold warren also very cool. Very trick I like very much. Because it used to be so difficult before before we did the thing with the first person. Like, before that, we just used to get up there, somewhat position ourselves, and try to war on. And needless to say, it didn't work as consistently. But with that consistent setup, it's a really cool trick. I like that a lot. Here, going to landscape because it can happen that first AI breaks and she just stops. She just stands on these stairs and doesn't advance. So with the landscape, you can assure that like, you don't assure that it doesn't happen, but you're sure that you can react quickly if it happens.
You did it.
I also had that like 2 or 3 days ago. I don't even know. Maybe a week ago. Some time ago, where you get up the ladder, go up the stairs. I'm at this door, and Farah's not coming. And I'm like, what the fuck? Of course, it's a very rare thing, but whenever it happens, it's... you feel cheated. There's nothing you can do other than admitting you got cucked by the game. Very nice clip there, by the way. Clipping through the enemy hitbox because he attacked. So that lever, that was kind of an accident, but like, I only wanted to grab it, but I turned it immediately, so Farah didn't follow. Or Farah didn't have the chance to follow. So I kind of had to die right after the checkpoint to make sure she gets in here in a functioning state. So whenever you pull the lever, Farah will get teleported into here.
Wait.
But there's a chance that she'll be in the twisted next state, which means she can't do the puzzle with you, which is somewhat of a problem.
Pull it again.
Given you need her to advance in NMG at least. In Zipless you can just airwalk below the bridge and be gone. Don't even need to look at her. You still have to die in Zipless to load the next area. Because of some skips we do, but
Now pull the lever.
different story. So anyways, after Second Sword, Ancient Ruins, Daybreak, Mess Hall, this tower is a nice kind of break you get from the runway. You can just do all this intended platforming. There's nothing difficult in any way you have to do. You can just, you know, relax a bit. Watch Farah climbing up in this weird, very badly scripted way, where she walks against the wall for a second and then jumps up. It looks ridiculous. Boom, boom. Nice jump here. Using first person is a glitch. That's not wrong. Then again, rewinding is also a glitch. So, what can you do other than ban my run? Oh yeah, this jump will be funny. Fucking check this. Side of the bridge pushed me away. But of course then the second attempt I grabbed the upper ledge. Which is a very weird combination. First you get super cucked, then the game's like, ah yeah, no, sorry, here, take upper ledge. This one's for you. I'm sorry, mate. We're still friends, right? And then I spit into the game's face to show my pure disgust and hatred for this product of Jordan Mechner's imagination. Or so. What is this zip setup? Keep running. Okay, so I lose like 10 seconds on the split. That's not a big deal. Of course, these kind of time losses add up over the course of the run. But it's nothing where I say, okay, let's reset this. This run's unbearable. I don't want it anymore. I see, yeah. That was purely of course, that's kind of off topic for this run, but that was one of the funniest encounters in the Discord when that guy came in and was all like he came in the speedrun Discord and was like, yeah, glitching is cheating, it ruins the experience. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Please join my Discord, we have music. That was so funny. So there was, for custom credits, there was no other choice than adding that copy pasta. But that's a different story. Shoutouts to Nayam.
I'm up here. Down below.
Best guy.
There's a
Anyways,
great mountain. Come on.
so until this point, we collected 25 sand clouds and a lot of pain, like missing that jump.
Stay there. I'll come down.
Missing this jump hurts a lot. But okay, we got 25 sand clouds out of 48. Somewhat half the run done. Didn't miss anything. All good so far. The problem I usually have, or I tend to have with these kind of long runs, is that there are two possibilities. Either the first half is very good and then my gameplay just starts to crumble and gets worse and worse, and the run dies eventually, or I get a 10-second PB, or the start is mediocre, but the longer the run goes, the stronger I get. So at least one of the halves of the run usually is bad. Not always. I've a few long runs where I would say that's not the case. Also shout out to Smethlex for this war run. But that usually is my problem. And of course, if that happens repeatedly, or happened repeatedly, you're in this mindset. Where you know, okay, the first half was pretty solid, so it might go downhill from here. You have this self-fulfilling prophecy kind of bullshit. Which could happen. It doesn't have to happen to you, but it could happen to you.
From now on, she'll have to toe the line. That is.
So that's something to look out for. Although that might be a very me-specific, like a very personal thing, which doesn't really happen to other speedrunners. Because just by chance, my past runs looked like that. Sick time loss. Not time loss, sick time session. This area, this courtyard before the caves is also very cool to do. This wall jump and walking kind of around the area in a smooth manner, I want to add. Walking around in a smooth manner is something which took a bunch of practice. Of course, I learned that years ago, because that's when I first did it. But doing that successfully is very satisfying. It's unsurprisingly, rather.
Have you been waiting here
I
all
assume.
this time? I didn't realize you meant these baths.
What's the other baths? Clear across the other side of the city.
I had a lovely wash and a rub with fragrant oils. Too bad you weren't there.
Very high-pitched voice, that
Talking
prince.
to yourself.
It's not like I like you or anything. Yeah. Apparently this waterfall is very good. 2 climbs, very nice diagonal jump. Direct jump downwards. Direct jump here. So this movement section is was probably very good. Of course I wouldn't know because I suck. But no, that movement section was very nice. Nice enough for it to be a gold at least, I guess. Probably for all the YouTube viewers of this video, it's probably very irritating that I repeatedly have to, you know, scratch my nose because it's legitimately itching. I'm not doing this on purpose. I'm sorry. Cut off your nose, maybe you should. Hey, Martin. I'm not sure what I assume by Easter egg you mean the Prince of Persia 1 you can access via the ancient ruins. I guess. Problem is that it's not a thing in the PC version, so yeah, you can't really require that if it's not accessible. That's a PS2 thing only. Assuming you meant that. If you meant something else, then sorry, you gotta explain that. But that's the only Easter egg I know which can be completed in some way. Yes, enough. I did say PS2 when I referred to the Easter egg Prince of Persia 1 you can play accessible via the ancient ruins. Before the Scarab fight and Daybreak. So yeah, it's kind of hard to require that if it's a thing in one version only. And it's... so yeah. Very nice jump, number 1. Yeah, it actually is. So in the PC version, you can get behind the wall. You can't destroy the wall, but you can get behind that wall. And the... funny, by the way. And the door and the kind of staircase is still there. As well as the save point, actually. And save point is called a long buried secret. But there's no game that plays. It has straight off been cut from the other versions. So if you don't reload the save, getting there is actually a soft lock. Like you can't move or do anything anymore. You just stand there. Also, yes, you do need the PC version to speedrun the game optimally. Well, not speedrun the game, but speedrun zipless. Because you will need... you need to play on PC, but with a controller for all the first-person glitches you have to do. Because that's a PC-only thing. Shoutouts to Ask, by the way. This skip is very cool. I actually, for once, got it in a smooth manner and not fall down there. Nice jump here. Cool. Actually, back in the days, was like 2011, 2012, Mikuyama used to run this game on GameCube because there was no big version difference. And I assume he had the game on GameCube anyways, and was the easiest for him to play or record or whatever. Of course, nowadays people play on PC for one, accessibility. Funny, by the way. Funny, by the way, number 2. These bats made me nervous this time. I'm not even sure why, but they did. Yeah, and on GameCube they have 2 very small skips you can only do there. But that's greatly outweighed by way shorter loading times on PC. As I said, accessibility, you can just buy the game, download OBS and record a run. Nowadays, it's very easy. There's no barrier at all. Also, there's no need to throw away your... of course, there's no need to throw away your game. It's just... if you want to speedrun this game, you should get the PC version. Which is like $5 and OBS is free. So as long as your PC is somewhat powerful, like it doesn't have to be that powerful. This game is very old, doesn't need a lot of resources. And we can always downscale OBS accordingly. But it has to be a decent PC at best if you want to run this game, and $5. So, yeah. The fucking PS3 remastered version, funny. Actually, I also have I have the PS3 version and the PS2 one. I don't have the GameCube one. I never had a GameCube. Dude, fucking trophies. Like, the fact that the PS3 version exists makes me sad. That's all I'm gonna say. For numerous reasons, which I won't go into right now. Because I don't want to be saddened throughout my run. Very funny enemy, by the way. Blocking my life. Also, this is optimal ropes. Don't have to time anything. You just jump at a correct point and then you can just smash A. Because you jump off so close to the wall that there's no chance for the prince to drop down. The A input you do is for jumping off and the wall jump at the same time. Yeah, no zombie, sorry. Not grabbing the lever here, funny. Yeah, the one problem with optimal ropes, especially in the zipless segmented run, was that you had to time jumping off the second plate on the wall, like the yellow one, which actually opens the door. But with this you don't have to time anything, you just do it. Another thing about the console versions, by the way, is that a bunch of tricks are way harder because the game is not as detailed in its textures or hitboxes or whatever. Naturally, because it has to run on a, well, not inferior console, but by today's standards, a somewhat weak system compared to a PC.
Help me.
So, for example, early Dagger, when I tried that on PS2, I believe I tried that at some point, it's very difficult to line things up precisely.
What took you so long?
Because that might be somewhat biased, because I did that like 2 years ago. 2 years ago I sucked at life, but maybe in 2.5 or 3 years ago. It was a long time ago when I tried a PS2 run of this just for fun. I'm not saying there's not a consistent method, I'm just saying on PC it's way easier to do. So, as always, you deliberately misunderstood what I was saying. That's fine. Okay, this fight also very nice. Just like this one, funny. You shouldn't. The problem with this fight is you shouldn't really, like, objectively speaking, you shouldn't really fight in this entrance area because it's somewhat narrow and these things can happen where you want to kill an enemy but a wall is nearby and it doesn't work. So you should rather fight here or close to the statue because you have to go there anyways. Problem is that it's somewhat likely that enemies will teleport to Farah. And you have to go to Farah, retrieve the enemy, and then you can go back. So for the start, you should stay with Farah. And for the end, you can go to the statue. Sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes Farah even follows you here. Whenever you go here first, like after the first or second wave. Which is of course the best thing that could happen. Very funny, by the way. Here we freeze this enemy, move to the statue because we want to do a cutscene skip. I'm moving the statue and landing between the rug and the hole behind the statue thing we moved. We will end the fight in the kind of trigger area where Farah sent to the hole to stand on the switch to open the door, etc. So this saves a lot of waiting for Farah. And a cutscene, which is like 25 seconds, I believe, if I recall correctly. So yeah, it's also a very nice skip. Yeah, the cursor is centered automatically if you start the game. And I'm not even sure with game capture, can you make the cursor invisible? Maybe I just forgot. Like usually I never bother. I just move it out of the way. I know you can disable it for window captures, but I'm not sure for game captures. Might also be a non-arrow thing. I know with arrow, window capture has a bunch of nice properties, such as if the window is overlaid, it's still captured in its original state. But yeah, I'm not sure about that. Either way, Hall of Learning cost me a lot of pain in the last week as well, especially in the last days. Oh, does it? Okay. Yeah, apparently I didn't check that then. My fault. But it's not as severe anyways. So it's fine. But yeah, as I was about to say, Hall of Learning, very painful. I actually posted a video yesterday. Of something funny that happened after I got down, like I completed the room, got down to collect the sword, and what you do, you don't complete the fight at the start, you kill all enemies in the first wave except for one. It's just that you just skip most of the fight. And up there you, like right at the checkpoint, you die just so the enemy's de-aggroed and Farah doesn't die, but as soon as you get down to collect the sword, the enemy will be activated again. And he has a chance of killing Farah. And yesterday he killed Farah right before I collected the sword. Which was something that never happened before. And the game behaved very, very weirdly after that. Was an experience. And then Farah died again, and yeah, I was kind of done because it just lost me 50 seconds. If you warren up where these, like slightly to the right of where these sparks are, when the trap kind of comes out, you can do this optimally. Like you warren up where the sparks are, do 2 jumps forward, and you usually grab the lower beam before the bats come. Sadly, I only grabbed the upper beam here. I died here to de-aggravate the enemy, because if you don't die, the enemy will teleport up here and bother you constantly. So, yeah, because you get a checkpoint when you get up the ladder. Dying is something very reasonable to do. Even more so because you have to do a very precise torpedo later on, for which an enemy would be rather hindersome, I guess.
Where is that glow coming from?
It's a good question. Where is that glow coming from? What is that glow even? But that's none of our concern for now. Our concern is to do this torpedo, which is absolutely free.
Listen to this.
And whoever fails this torpedo should stop running this game. Oh, wait.
Love is life. So if you want to live, die in love. Die in
Funny
love
bets.
if you want to stay alive.
Of course you kill
What's that supposed to mean?
all of them but
I
4.
thought you'd like it.
And when there's 3, then
Want to
they
be
vanish.
useful? Try finding a book that'll tell us how to get out of here.
This isn't that
This
kind
isn't
of
that
game.
kind of game.
Game?
Are you stupid?
She thinks this is a game.
Okay, line up, torpedo, directly to the rope. The easier version is to get to the beam. You can't really plan to grab the rope like that directly, but if it happens, it's very nice. But landing on the beam with this setup is rather simple, I'd argue.
There was one more thing.
This trick also used to be a big problem
It was in the main hall.
back when this trick was used in, I think even in any percent. Like a very long time ago, like 4 years ago or so. And you get here as a new runner, you have 4 cents for this trick, and if you fail it, you lose like 2 or 3 minutes or so. So it really puts the pressure on. And years later, when you did it over and over and practice, it's very simple. Unsurprisingly, but this, like of course, this gap between, this is not as easy of a trick as I thought, and you just do it. It's easy. It actually is simple. Yeah, there of course.
You opened the gate.
There of course has to be something that happened in between, which usually is practice and doing it over and over. What a thought.
Help!
Okay. So I didn't die before I grabbed the sword. That's nice. Which in itself yesterday wasn't as bad, because getting the sword is a checkpoint. Just like getting any weapon is a checkpoint.
Come on!
Sorry, Vin, I actually did help her. Nice momentum loss at the corner. So they, yeah, there's also a jump you can do from a central platform. You do that in Zipless. We don't do that in NMG. So from a central upper platform in Hall of Learning, you can jump directly to this beam where I torpedoed onto. And it's also consistent. The problem is if you do that, you can't complete the puzzle. Did we do that in Zipless? I think we did that in Zipless. Also rip countering. I haven't run AC Zipless in quite a long time, but we should do that jump. Why are we doing that jump? I think it's because we are zombie, you don't have health. Doing the torpedo can usually costs you health. Don't even remember. Anyways, we couldn't do it in this category either way, because that would skip moving the mirrors, which you kind of need to approach the sword. And of course, if you move the mirrors afterwards, it's not even faster anymore. Because the torpedo is kind of the most direct way you can take anyways.
There should be a way to make this thing go up. See if you can find a switch.
That probably was a very bad explanation overall, but...
Done.
Oops. Yeah, dude, when's AC Zipless runs, honestly? Best category, where best means most bullshit, because there's
I found one.
an insane number of
Not
hard
yet.
tricks in there.
Wait till I'm on the platform. Now!
Just because you have a lot of sands, so doing more rewind tricks is okay, because you have the sands you need for that. Which makes that run fun. So for this area, for the observatory, we found I shouldn't say I should say Epic Dude Guy, followed by Smethlex, found this very neat trick, which I took fucking years to set up, but that's okay. Yeah, originally we climbed into the pole and did a very precise wall jump to get back. And this one is way easier.
The gate's open.
Here I come!
So yeah, that's a skip that came about due to people being interested in this category again. And most of all,
Come on.
Epic Dude Guy participating in a race of this
Look, a crack.
Wait,
category
let's see
blindly.
where this corridor goes.
So he had to figure out things
All right,
out himself.
You can take the crack.
See you soon.
Sorry. I'd like to specifically not thank Epic Dude
Try
Guy.
pulling that
Like,
lever.
who is it? Who is that guy even? Hope that's better. Okay, at this point, one thing was perfectly clear. There are two difficult
Do you
things
think I can jump it?
left in
Go
this run.
on,
Two
try.
things which
What's
have
the
a
worst that can happen?
realistic potential. No, three. Sorry, three
There
things
you go.
which have a realistic potential of killing this run. Big palm tree in the courtyard. Elevator fight because of possible feral randomness. Not as risky, but somewhat risky. Oh yeah. Fucking frame perfect lever. Clip this. Fucking clip this. Dedicate this to Epic Dude Guy.
Here I am. I can't open the gate.
Yeah, so there are three more things. Big palm tree, elevator fight, and PvP Pro skip in Endgame. Have the highest probability of messing me up. Number one, line up the head, and then you get it. Okay, after I got this trick, my pulse was legitimately at 180. I didn't measure, but this is a felt truth. This is, I feel like that's true. Because that only left two things. As that elevator is not as severe if you really focus on keeping the camera away from Farah. The enemies usually don't attack her, and by usually I mean very consistently don't attack her.
What better way to tame her in?
And of course the PvP Pro thing, that's a real threat. If you fail that, you lose like
Challenge.
40 seconds. And it's a rather precise thing. But that's for later. Assuming the run gets there, who knows?
Come on.
Dude, getting to the courtyard with this kind of pace, and you have to do palm tree, and you know if it's not first try, you will not be happy with the run. Even if it PBs, you will not be happy, you will not be satisfied. That's a very large amount of pressure on you. And I'm glad I was lucky enough to get the skip.
Look, that's the bridge to the Tower of Dawn.
The Tower of Dawn. Okay, only 8 more sand clouds. Aratum, 7 more sand clouds. And 3 more life upgrades. Funnily enough, at the end of the run, they really packed these life upgrades together. They were like, guys, we're out of space. We still have 3 life upgrades. What do we do? And they were just like, put them at the end, whatever. We don't care. Same thing for the sand clouds, actually. Because you collect 8 sand clouds within the span of 7 minutes? 6 minutes? Which compared to the other sand tanks you fill up is very little, honestly. Oh, I missed a sand cloud back there. You see that? Missed it. No, fuck. Reset. Okay, I just learned that standard US standard bottles sizes are 0.5 liters and 2 liters. I also know the 2 liter things. They usually are a thing, I think, for the soft drinks of like Coca-Cola or whatever. Which I totally didn't get money to say Coca-Cola in this stream with 2,000 viewers.
In my father's
So everybody
house
wants
was
to buy
prison
Coca-Cola
much
now.
less. I had never set foot inside.
But yeah, for the
Now
usual
here I
water
was,
bottles, at least here,
myself a prisoner
I-
seeking an escape.
not sure if 2 liters is a thing. The next best thing is 5 liters, the big kind of canisters you can buy. But yeah, today I learned. Really thirsty. For some Pepsi. Fuck. I lose. I'm glad we're discussing this. A drap. My friend, you're just being paranoid. Let me tell you that much. This is fine. Okay, so a prison torture chamber. There's nothing difficult here. You just do it. Playing with my legs. I can also play without looking. To check what people sent me in Discord. This weird chat program people use nowadays. I do have a monitor down there, yeah. I can just play and just look there. Imagine sending me images of Little Witch Academia. Weeps out. Funniest thing here would have been that, because the enemy will teleport here now, and I was aware of that, that he'll attack me right as I climb up the box in a damage boost, or something like that. So luckily after the cutscene stopped, I didn't move for a bit, well aware that this is a possibility. Which of course has never happened before, like getting damage boosted when you climb up a box. First time thing ever. Or so it would have been. Shoutouts to Joe. Just randomly, don't have to understand it, it's just shoutouts to Joe. Fucking icon. Okay, torture chamber also very standard.
A torture chamber.
You just get up there and do the
It's
damage
first time I'd
boost.
seen such devices
Oh
at
wait,
close range.
I'm not sure why I started warring here on the right side. That's
Where were the men whose trade
doesn't
had been to
really make
apply
sense.
to
Guess I
extract
was
the
kind of in the
antidote
zone
for
here,
salt.
not really thinking about things
There was one.
too much.
In the end, they had met the same fate as their victims.
Ah, rip,
Guards
bad
and
damage boost.
prisoners
Totally
made
botched
evil
the
by
setup.
sands of time.
This is so sad. Can we hit 50 subscribers? It just reset. Lamu. Okay, only 3 more sand clouds, 2 more life upgrades, and the final sword upgrade. That's all that's left to complete the all collectibles objective. Also something will happen now, which happens actually very consistently, which just shows this game is poorly programmed. And this. Twisted neck. What happens there is actually somewhat interesting. If you get to the, when you get to the ramparts before you fall into prison,
Help me.
in AC you have to get these sand clouds, which are on the lower parts of the ramparts. So you go around lower parts of the ramparts, but Farah doesn't follow you. So she stays behind, and when you get back into this area, Farah loads in the twisted neck state because she was too far behind when you entered the prison. Funny enemy, by the way, right in my way. It's hilarious. So because you always go the lower path, Farah never follows. She's always twisted neck when you get up here. It's not a problem. You just hold upwards, so the prince climbs the ladder and loads the area, gets the checkpoint. But the first time that happened, I was legitimately confused. I thought that was a soft lock. Or maybe it wasn't even me. Maybe it was Joe who first encountered that. It was one of us, at least. Almost got hit there. funny. Also, Farah didn't die. Also something that happened. Very funny. Could have gone, yeah, I guess could. And also funny. Also happened like a week ago. I collected that sand cloud, the third to last sand cloud. And while collecting that sand cloud, Farah died because an enemy was aggressively targeting her. And whenever you pick up the sand cloud, the rewind timer resets. So you can't rewind Farah's death, and the run is essentially over. With very little you could have done. Other than rewind prematurely, although Farah isn't even dead yet. It's just to replenish her health. Yeah, but these are the hilarious kind of things you have to deal with if you run this game. How long have I been gone?
How long have
Gone?
What are you
What are you
talking about?
Never mind.
You bumbling moron. Are you fully out of your mind now? It's most likely what Farah thinks, but different story. Okay, elevator fight. One of the two big things where some kind of mishap could occur. As I said, if you
Too easy.
consistently keep the camera away from Farah, you usually are fine. And also fight in the half of the elevator where Farah is not. Okay, also the next retrieve will be the 4th slow-mo tank, which will fill up the slow-mos, so get rid of all these slow-mo tanks that are yet filled with these kind of freeze kills. It's one of the somewhat interesting fighting tech you have to deal with. In the AC categories. Or 100%, like the categories where you fight a lot and these things matter. Something to think about. Also, Beast Fairy, I didn't really think about that. Mostly because that would be a lot of effort. Also, I'm not sure if people want to see that. But there actually were occasional thoughts. I guess it never was that serious. But at some points we thought about cosplaying for Prince of Persia runs at on-site events. Like people in the crowd with just some kind of low budget prince costume or whatever. Sadly, we never went through with it because effort. Funny enemy, by the way. I'm also not saying I want these things to happen, just say, you know, maybe. Also, I was terrible at countering today. I had 3 opportunities in this run to counter dagger retrieve, and I used none of them. I was legitimately sad. Worst run ever. Funny. Okay, I went to Farah a bit early, so I was a bit confused, but when I got these 5 slow-mo tanks, it was clear. This thing is said and done, it's over. Fight completed. But I even could have gone to Farah a bit later. To end the fight. Yeah, this fight was okay. Wasn't the best I ever had, but it was decent. That looks like a glitch. Now, did it? Not sure. I'll show you what's an actual glitch. Getting this war run first try. That's a glitch. I think Smeth and all the other pop runners will agree that's the glitch. to consider here. Yes,
The hourglass is nearby.
exactly.
I can feel it.
Feel it how?
And yet I lost, I think I lost like 10
Explain.
seconds on the split due to elevator, so some parts where wasn't as fast in elevator fight. Like, despite the impossible war run. For anybody who's not aware, that war run before getting to the lever which leads down the cage of the elevator, that wall has legitimately weird properties which sometimes just the game refuses a full war run. So after like 3 steps of the war run, Prince just doesn't continue
Why did you
because I don't know, that wall is poorly programmed and they didn't test it. That's my conclusion here.
Those soldiers, all they can do is fight, destroy. Why did I trust you?
Why did you trust me?
Ow,
Sorry.
where are you?
I'm right here.
Hold my hand. Let go.
Okay. At this point, there was one more thing, one more
No.
somewhat scary thing which could
All that's happened
end
is
the run, and that's, as I said, the PvP Pro
I wanted
skip in
honor and
Endgame,
glory.
the wall jump, which funnily enough on GameCube is free. You just wall run
Brave and
onto the fence and then you wall run over. On PC that's impossible.
At least the dagger will be buried with
Maybe
us.
because the fence is too detailed or something, I don't know.
We are
But
together.
as a replacement, we have the PvP Pro skip there,
What is
which
it?
is rather precise. We have a setup for it,
Trembling.
and the
I
setup
just
works
don't
quite
like
nicely,
these
but there still is some precision to that
There
skip.
must be some way out of here.
See, if you don't focus enough, or if you botch something or whatever,
When I was small,
you will fall down
my
and
mother taught me a
die
secret word.
because you lose the dagger.
She said that when I was afraid,
First steals it from
all I
you.
had to do was
Story spoiler for whoever didn't know this game before, and still wanted to play it
I've never told that.
16 years later.
I can see why. It's the most
Um,
childish thing I've ever heard of.
You don't have the dagger, so you can't rewind. If you die, you die. That's it. And especially in the end game, there's a whole bunch of time loss
You did that,
tied to that,
didn't you? Farah?
potentially at least. So, endgame is always the thing where my hands get the sweatiest, I think. It actually always has been. You might think after 4 years of speedrunning. Yeah, the strat only saves 3 seconds or something like that. But time save is time save. Gotta grab it. But yeah, you might think even after 4 years of speedrunning this game somewhat constantly, you would lose this nervosity of doing endgame where you don't have the dagger, you are on a good pace, and you know, one mistake means the run is essentially over.
Where are you?
You would think after 4 years
Isn't what beautiful?
it
Where are you?
somewhat diminishes. It vanishes. It's not a thing anymore. I can assure you, that's not a thing. I may have gotten better in this game over the course of the last 4 years, but I still am as nervous as the first day when I get to endgame. Of course, not in this puzzle,
Stay here.
surprisingly, but the actual endgame. Yeah, thank you, Kadarov. Sadly, this run is
Where are
not phenomenal. It's at best okay,
I don't see
but
you.
of course appreciate the good wishes regardless. Also, please don't spoiler the final time.
All right, this
Would be
is
very
getting
nice of you.
ridiculous.
It's a secret.
Farah?
Yeah, legitimately difficult puzzle.
Farah?
Until you hear about the secret of this puzzle, you have to listen to the water droplets, which tell you Which door is the correct one?
A magical cavern?
Bet you didn't know that. Probably
It was a dream we
as a
both
kid
shared.
tried the doors randomly and looked for patterns. There is no pattern. There never was a pattern. Other than the water droplets.
Oh no.
Oh, you actually did. Oh, that's very nice. Now, Kelly, well, first of all, thank you. Second of all, you're wrong. But third of all, thank you. Anyways, endgame starting. At least, well, starting slowly. Of course, this puzzle, there's nothing really to fear. Other than not positioning the second mirror in the perfect place. Literally, how do you do it in Simplest? I fully respect that, okay. Mirror took way longer than it should have, but it was in a perfect position. The light is lined up as a G. In the landscape cam, which is a very nice pattern. And we have the last sword. Only life upgrade 10. And then we can go. Yeah, that's the secret. Eraser knows the secret. Every run is bad. So there's no need to be nervous ever. Another problem at this point is that this run has a very slight chance of getting 146, which would require a perfect final fight and a perfect vizier fight. So it's not realistic that this run will 146, but there is a chance. Of course, the same thing held when I did this run. So no, every small mistake can cost you 146. If the fight doesn't go perfectly, not 146. So that's of course on your mind. On the other hand, a low 147 still is a very good time, but you have this psychological kind of barrier of this arbitrary measurement called minutes. Because a 146.59 is so much better than a 147.01. It's like 2 hours between those times. Or so it feels. Very funny enemy, by the way. Blocking my life. That enemy ruined 146, essentially, yeah. Of course, nothing else, like dying at people skip. That could never happen. Which would mean that this run is a high 147. Missed the vertical warren there. At this point, the run is essentially dead. There's like no point anymore. Should reset. It's horrible. Okay, the thing I said before about nervousness in Endgame is less about the general platform like this thing here, and rather the difficult skips. You know, it's hit or miss. It's, you know, you do it or you fail. You go, it's over. And you will probably see that in a second with my camera movement with my mouse. It's very shaky, very non-smooth, trembling a lot. And you could probably see from the non-fluidity of this gameplay that I was actually shaking here. At this point, my pulse was at 190. Like the fear at this point, the fear of doing something insanely stupid, such as not jumping up these ledges, but jumping off a ledge, which happened I think once before. It's just pure anxiety. It's nothing else. You have a very good question there. As I said, I didn't measure these things. I just approximated them. Like a true scientist would. Why measure when you just can say, yeah, it's around about that. The scientific method. Okay. Funnily enough, these bets also aren't as pressuring because you have a checkpoint somewhat close. Like, of course, if you die, you lose 20 seconds or so. That's very painful, but it's not as bad as in Zipless where you lose a minute, so you don't care as much. So you're somewhat okay here. Okay, hope you're all ready for 50-50 skip. And getting it first try to save this 146. No, didn't even attempt it. But at least I started the swing here at an optimal point. That's as far left as you can go. Yeah, when I get around these swing pods, you only have to hold the left analog stick. You don't have to do anything else. So with my right hand, I was typing in chat "rip 50-50," and that was. And Fierce's reaction was like, "What the fuck? Please focus on the run." It was a pretty legit reaction, but yeah, Robbie, precisely. But I hope you only typed that with your right hand. No, I didn't put the slash. I didn't. I'm pretty sure I did not put the slash. There's no proof for that, but with my right hand, I don't think so. I think it was rip 50 space 50. Or maybe I did. At this point, I don't remember anything anymore. No, my second channel doesn't have VODs. VODs, sorry. Fucking Germans. VODs. Yeah, that's sadly no proof. Maybe I did. I don't think I did the slash proof. 5050 skip gone. Okay, as I said, I have a margin of 6 seconds for this run to be a margin of 5 seconds for this run to be a 146. 5 seconds compared to my goals. Very unlikely, and I also didn't think it would happen. Like you get blocked like 4 times by enemies or 4 times by the V0 or so, and it ends over. Something like that. I'm pretty sure everybody who's invested in this run at this point is like, did he get 146? Did he get it? Did he? Well, maybe. I mean, probably not, as I just said, but maybe I did. But probably not. Almost torpedoed down the whole Lamo. That would have been the absolute funniest. Funny. Of course, I didn't want to side roll around the enemy. I wanted to jump over him. That was that was the logical thing to do. So logical that I begin to stutter even. Funny. This game just makes me legitimately mad at some point. At least that dodge was very cool. Also very funny, I kick the enemy 3 times. I kick 3 times. Prince uses the sword 0 times in between. 3 kicks, which kicking in this fight does absolutely nothing. Because the sword is 1-hit kill anyways. Like, what the fuck? So yeah, this is essentially the point where 146 died. Legitimately and unironically died. It's like getting cucked in this manner of what am I supposed to do? There's nothing I can do. It's fine. It's still a very good run. It's a low 147. It's still very good. More than enough for me to say I'm done with this category. It just stings a bit that this game is bullshit, but it's okay. It's fine. Yeah, it actually is a low 147.
I will handle.
I have Vizier, even funnier. Fucking check this. Zip for 145. Lamo.
What sorcery is this? Stop this at once.
My lady, he came here.
Sphere the
to
run is not
you.
invalid. I rewound whatever happened. Nice. I'm not even sure if that was a damage boost, but I thought it was at that point, so I just rewound it anyways.
He will betray
Also
you.
because it gave me back the original vizier pattern, so I could continue attacking.
Your exertions are most amusing.
Like, but that's some insane kind of bullshit. You're doing the fight legitimately,
Let him be brought before
and you
my
just get
father.
hit in midair
He
and
will judge.
damage boost a little bit. Like it's surely not within the spirit of
Vizier,
NMG to
I have
disallow
commanded
these
you
things,
to
which,
stop.
which actually put you as a
You disobey.
disadvantage.
I've taken orders long enough from a
That's
senile
what I
fool
talked about that
sniveling
before. That's what I really don't like about the current rule set.
Your father was a great warrior.
Like
yes,
for example, you want to climb up something, Scarab hits you, damage boost. You gain nothing from it. You even lose 3 seconds because you fly all the way up and then fly all the way down again. But with the current rule set, you're forced to rewind it or
Don't
die
tire yourself.
in order for the run to stay valid.
Viva came up
Which is... I mean, it makes sense to the point that you can say, okay, all runs are... There's no room for interpretation. All the runs have to be pure and free of glitches. At least within your timeline, loosely speaking. But what you could do within these rules is to zip to die faster. Because you do a glitch, but you die afterwards. So within the current rule set, that's valid. And that's something I very much don't like about the current rule set. And I don't have a good solution for that.
He finds his only daughter, slain
Because you can
by the
somewhat
sun.
interpret what does it mean if a run, if a glitch
Do you have
is
any last
puts you
words
at an advantage or as a disadvantage. It could be a bit
before I can
vague.
Words of love, perhaps.
147.11. The final time.
I could have been immortal.
It's over. The grind is over. 146 is possible, but I seriously don't care and I won't bother to get it. If anybody gets it, fine.
Take this. Return it to your father's treasure vault. Guard it well.
It's not a god run, but it's more than good enough for me to say
But why did you invent such
I'm
a
done.
fantastic
It's okay.
story?
It's over.
Do you think me a child that I would believe such nonsense?
But yeah, that's just to spark the discussion on how to maybe modify the current NMG rule set.
I said I owe you thanks.
Because that's...
You presume too
I
much.
don't know. I have to think of something better.
Such a fantastic story. Do you think me a child?
What I of course didn't want is to have some kind of damage boost in this run and then be like, oh, we have to change the rules. This is stupid. Because then it looks like, oh, I just want this run to be valid.
Wait,
And I'm desperate for a rule change. So that's not what I intended. That's why I rewound that.
Just call me Kakolukia.
Kakulukian. Anyways, that's all. Vin, you're correct, but I didn't want to think about that. Anyways, this was a speedrun of Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time. All collectibles, no major glitches. In 1 hour, 47 minutes, 11 seconds, and 900 milliseconds. Just to have a very short and, a title you can grasp very easily. 90 centiseconds, of course, sorry. Or as we Germans would say, 90 Hundertstel. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, everybody, for watching. I'm done. I'm simply done. Like after I got this run, I wasn't lost of words, similar to what I am now. Bye, I guess. It's not like this run was good or anything. Baka. Weeps out. Anyways, yeah, thank you so much for watching. Means a lot that you shared this precious moment with me. Also very much looking forward to Smethlex 146, which will come around eventually.